How do you know if you're eating too much protein or if you're under eating protein? Let's get into it. Welcome everyone to my very humble channel, and trust, I am very humbled because I've worked the whole day and now I'm filming a video at 9 o'clock at night. But that's okay, let's get into it. That protein talk again. People keep asking me how much protein, or they're just eating too much, or they are eating too little, and they just don't get it because I guess certain people out there are pushing so much protein. I had a consultation today with a guy who was eating ungodly amounts of protein. And I was like, how did you get this idea? And he's like, well, I saw it off of this male guru. I said, okay. But you're having all these problems. You're having kidney pain. Yeah. Foamy urine. Those are the signs of too much protein. So the too little protein side, this is one almost never spoken about. That typically is women who have heard, but I actually think these are women trying to just keep their calories down. But a lot of women will eat 40 grams of protein, total protein a day, not in weight, but total protein. That is far too little unless you're like 4'10", or unless you have issues digesting protein, which some of you do. You could have low protease. This is a digestive enzyme that helps you break down protein. Low stomach acid, or people who have such bad, severe mast cell activation and histamine intolerance, they barely eat anything. Now let's break it down to the different people, or just some people are just under eating protein because they thought that's what they're supposed to do. And the people who under eat protein almost never eat enough fat. And then their hair starts falling out, and then they can't sleep, and they start getting dark circles under their eyes. Be very careful to not under eat protein. Now I'm always talking about not overeating protein, but in this case it's the under eating. And if you have histamine intolerance, you might have to boil, yes, your meat. If that is what is going to help the inflammatory symptoms go down, so you can eat the right amount of protein. If everything is bloating you, including meat, something's really wrong. This is when people begin to undereat the protein. You have to look at digestive enzymes. You have to look at stomach acid levels. You have to look at stress, dysbiotic gut, and the quality of this protein. This is something never spoken about. You can get bloated on soy and corn-fed cows, and then when you eat the meat, you're reactive to it, and therefore people eat less of it. And if you under eat protein, you're gonna have all kind of issues. You're going to have energy issues. You're going to have healing issues. You're going to have mineral issues from under eating protein, the inability to build muscle, and put a stress on your reproductive system if you're not eating enough protein. If you have low stomach acid, then you might want to get protease for the short term. You might want to get betaine HCl to add more acid back. You can try lemon water before you eat protein. You can try apple cider vinegar, as long as you don't react to it. Super important to understand these little details that add up to being able to digest your protein. It's the quality, it's the amount, it's the timing of your protein, because if you are eating if you're fasting, for example, and that somehow lowers the amount of protein you should be taking in, the amino acids, you're going to see it. You're going to see gluconeogenesis. You're going to see rapid aging. You have to know your sweet spot. You have to know your level of protein requirement if you're working out. And this requirement that you're getting older, premenopausal women thinking that they need more protein, well, let's go into that camp. And if you're under eating protein, again, boiling the meat, finding things that are low in histamine for the short term, antihistamines like diamine oxidase in thymus or in kidney. Chew that protein very slowly. Or people are not eating enough protein because they think it spikes their blood sugar. How could I forget that one? If protein is spiking your blood sugar, you got to look at all those things I just mentioned, as in type, timing, quality, how you prepare the meat, if it's boiled, if it's fried. Yeah, it's interesting. Now for those who eat too much protein. Well, that's almost everybody, because they'll watch gurus sit with a big freaking pile of food in front of them, and then these people will fast all day long, and then they'll go and binge, which should be a whole nother video, how people are starting to binge on meat. People are still counting calories. Stop counting calories. It's all about how your body utilizes and digests those calories, how your hormones are functioning, how insulin is functioning. Estrogen, testosterone, thyroid. It's your hormones, my people. Do you have the digestive equipment to break down all this protein? Because if you don't, what is not being utilized will be reconverted back into glucose and stored as fat, essentially making all that protein work like eating a piece of cake. You don't believe me? Go get a glucometer and test it yourself. Eating large amounts of protein, people are eating up to 3 pounds. I don't know how they even survive the urea, uric acid, purines, kidney problems. You know, they don't avoid it. It's happening to a lot of you. And for those who don't know how to test for that problem, go test your uric acid levels when you're eating up to 3 pounds of beef a day. Just watch. Your kidney function goes down, the GFR. You have to literally know how to balance your electrolytes. You have to learn how to balance your electrolytes so you don't become chronically dehydrated as you're forcing all these protein products into your body. And then the kidneys have to filtrate the waste products of all this excess protein. Now, in some rare cases, some people can eat that much protein and be fine. It's very rare, especially with people doing a no carb, no starch diet. It's not the same as bodybuilders. Bodybuilders will go and drink protein shakes and gobs of protein and a ton of eggs, but they eat rice, or they will be eating carbs, which helps their body hold on to cellular water. But for those carnivore people and the ketogenic people, that is a catastrophe waiting to happen. Let's talk about all the signs and symptoms of too much protein. Okay, you get sleepy after you eat a big plate of food, meat. Yeah, you get a little sleepy. That's the blood sugar tanking. You become constipated, or you develop loose stool. Yeah, you have back pain. Back pain, that's your kidneys. Some people are developing, men in particular, high iron levels. Yeah, it's pretty bad. That's another sign. Now, the stinky pee, too much protein. Yeah. Foamy pee means you're not even absorbing all that protein. I just don't understand it. Like, I just don't understand all that meat. Like, and people become addicted. Like, they're having binge fests because they fast all day long, and then they'll sit with a 20-ounce steak and push it down and become constipated or develop loose stool or stinky urine, or they smell. The stomach is just freaking out. The kidneys are freaking out. Your electrolytes tank. It's insane. You gotta learn how your body as an individual can tolerate certain things. I had a consultation with a guy whose GFR was 60, and I'm getting a lot of 60s. Should be over 100. Now, 60 is low. When you get down to 50, you're entering kidney failure zone. And your doctors will say, oh, no, you're fine. You're in the normal range at 60. It's the lowest of the lowest end of what they consider normal. If you're at an 80, you're getting too low. If you're at a 70, that it should stop right there. It's called an EGFR. These tests are quite beneficial. Liver, kidney. Well, heck, throw in a ultrasound of your gallbladder. Yeah. The signs of too much protein. Can't sleep. So you can crash in the afternoon, but you can't sleep at night. Yeah. And feeling tired because you're not in ketosis because your protein is too high. And that protein's converting back into glucose, which is not enough to store glycogen. Too much protein. And there's other signs and symptoms. I just can't think of them right now, except for things like your thyroid, your hair falling out, testosterone dropping. Oh, there's more. Right? Because you're not in ketosis. It's insane. And when you guys have low stomach acid, that food will sit in your stomach all night long and putrefy and rancidify, giving you inflammation and keeping your blood sugar a little too high. So obviously, eating too much protein spikes your blood sugar. You can't get into ketosis. Cannot. Nope. Those numbers, the ketone and glucose, must balance, and you must have energy, and you have to digest it and use it. Because if you eat all that protein, your body can only eat, digest, and use a certain finite amount of protein, amino acids, to build muscle. So people are overeating protein because they think they're going to build muscle, and nobody woke them up and said, you need to focus on your insulin. Stress, sleep, growth hormone. Stop counting calories, my people. Go get your hormones checked. That's the problem, not the calories. If you keep counting calories, I don't know, some of these gurus are like, eat a bunch of protein. If you eat fat, you're going to get fat. I'm like, this is like bottom of the friggin' toilet science. Fat does not make you fat. Go read Gary Taubes' book. Fat does not make you fat. It's broken hormones that make you fat. It's poor digestion and poor lifestyle and stress and poor circadian rhythm. These things spike your blood sugar, make insulin not work, to tank your testosterone. That's what makes you fat. Your thyroid hormone's dropping. That makes you fat. Making too much estrone in your fat cells, signaling estrogen. And for men, that's a disaster because your dihydrotestosterone spikes, estrogen spikes, and you start getting flabby. Stop counting calories. Stop looking at fat is the savior. You just have to have a functioning gallbladder. If you want to learn more, go to stephanieperson.com, book a consultation. Clearly, I've worked with the freaking hardcore athlete, the marathon runner, the bodybuilder, to the housewife, to the average Joe, to older people, people with cancer, disease, you name it. And when you work with enough people, it's like you become autodidact. You just get it. And I really think I want to do a video about this. It's really important to connect with the people during a consultation. You got to know their personality. Are they willing to give up something to then gain something? Because if they're not, people want to have these timelines, how long? And it takes much longer than you would think because people don't have the strength to be disciplined. And that plays a role in muscle gain. And instead of counting calories, gosh, how stressful is that to sit and count calories? Don't count calories. Fix your hormones. Do the hard work. My Instagram is Stephanie Ketogenic. My Facebook fan page is Stephanie the Business Person. You can sign up for my course where I cover all 3 diets because clearly not everybody can do this one or this one or this one. Omnivore, carnivore, low carb, high fat. And I'm out because this girl's got energy at 56. Soon I'll be 57 and I eat high fat. I don't eat high protein because I don't need to. And I still build muscle. Postmenopause. Stop listening to all this garbled nonsense. People are getting you guys too confused. And I'm out. Oh yeah, the challenge. I'm going to pop off with this in March because just too many things. Horse got sick. Other horse had to have his nuts cut. They were fighting. Crazy storm. No water. So I can only do so much in a 24-hour day, but I'm almost done with it. Peace.